Today we're in Vincennes, Indiana, just across the Illinois state line, and we're going to visit the Indiana Military Museum. I visited Vincennes on my way through US 50, heading east, and found this museum and thought I'd make this video because it's quite impressive. Vincennes has a population of about 16,000. It's the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in Indiana and was the longest serving territorial capital and one of the oldest settlements west of the Appalachian Mountains. So a very historic place as a city to visit, but this museum is terrific as well. And I'm just going to kind of walk through. I'll tell you a little bit about the museum, but there's so many items that it's hard to get too detailed, and I'll just let you check things out as I tell you some facts about the museum. It was founded in 1982 by Jim Osborne, who began collecting military memorabilia in childhood, and eventually the museum was open to the public in 1984. It was at a different site, but now it's near the George Rogers Clark National Historic Park, which is also very impressive, and it opened here in 2013. It's 14 acres. It used to be home to the Blackford Window Glass Company factory. So some interesting things. It's a nonprofit organization and run totally by volunteers. And there were a lot of really nice people here, as they were very helpful and let me know what all is here. So lots of just historical displays in the first building. There's 3 parts of the museum, and this first part is mostly just like you're seeing here, historical memorabilia, different items from all the different wars, obviously the connections to Indiana. So really good way to start because you're getting a lot of information about the history of Indiana military. And they do have some things like cannons and some military objects like that that are in this part, but you're going to see a lot more of these things throughout the museum. There's a lot of different posters, which I found interesting, and you'll see tons of them in this room. Lots of old, I do like the old uniforms. Great photos. You just look at those photos and imagine how difficult some of those times were, and some of the interesting photos or drawings as well. They have some very famous military generals' uniforms, and there's actually quite a few of them that you would recognize, just even if you're not a history buff. And here are some of the posters that I was talking about earlier. There's, I don't know, like 100 of these here. It's just very interesting how they were advertising to help the military back in the day. A lot of buy war bonds posters you'll see. And it doesn't seem like they missed anything in terms of a war or a battle. There's so much from, obviously, things like World War II and the Cuban Missile Crisis to things that are much more modern. So things that, I can remember even in my lifetime. So as you can see, just tons of things to check out. You can spend hours and hours in this first building. But let's head over to the Annex, and we'll see a lot more interesting stuff. Definitely puts things in perspective when you start hearing the sounds. You don't see that in a museum very often, where they recreate a lot of the sounds while you're kind of walking through what it might have looked like. This hospital sterilization truck right here, the blue one, is believed to be the last of its kind. It's a 1914 Renault model EPGZ. And yes, allegedly this is the last one of its kind. About 110 years old. Pretty interesting to see what they used to use in the field. A lot of information about the ship, the USS Vincennes, in this area, and there were 4 of them that bared that name. They didn't forget about the families and what it was like for them during wartime, so they'd have different displays of what a military house might look like.
Washington. The White House announces Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
And as you can tell, there's just an endless amount of things to check out, no matter what branch of the military, no matter what era. And, you know, this building has a lot more mannequins than the other building, but just as much stuff, kind of bigger stuff in this building. And we haven't even gotten to the real big stuff yet.
Just being honest.
And as we walk outside, the third area to check out is the outside, where they have a bunch of tanks and different airplanes. I am no expert on any of these things, so there are all kinds of airplanes, tanks, and it's just, for someone like me who's not an expert in these things, it's just fun to look at and see how different it is and how times have changed since what they flew and what they used back in the day. Really interesting stuff. And I almost missed it, but over here next to the airplanes, there's this setup of a German World War II bunker. Obviously not the real thing, but set up and decorated like what it might have been like. So that's about the end of our video. Hope you enjoyed it. Great museum if you're ever in Vincennes, Indiana. Highly recommended for you to check out. And once again, run by volunteers and a nonprofit organization.